Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody had an amazing week. Mark your calendars. September 30th, we have worship night. I'm here from 7 to 8:30. That'll be right before our first Sunday on October the 2nd. So mark down your calendars. Be sure and be present. Be sure you invite all those in your gather group. Remind each other. Turn right now to your left and to your right in your gather group and say, hey, don't forget September 30th and October 2nd. Also, if you're, it's a great time to invite a friend or invite somebody who's wanting to, be a part of something, a body of the church in Wilmington. It's a great place to invite them on September 30th as well as October the 2nd. All right, let's get started today. I want to be in Psalms 19. So right now, if you got your Bibles with you, if you're on your phones, whatever you're using, go to Psalm 19. And part of this message came out of this past week. I was up in Cape Lookout doing a little bit of fishing first part of the week, and I just kind of got encountered by the Lord, by His creation. So we're going to be in Psalm 19, and it just encountered me, and I'm going to paint the picture for you. If you've never been to Cape Lookout, it's 26 miles of beach that you have to get there by ferry. And once you get on the island, there's no electricity. They got like 20-some cabins there that can be generator powered, but that's it. So it's a pretty rustic place. It's got a lighthouse on the south end of the island. But when you get there, you're just kind of there. And I'll tell you what encountered me. We were in the south end of the island, and I was sleeping. I slept on the beach there for 2 nights in my truck, and so we had a full moon that came up, and so we're sitting there underneath. We're sitting there fishing late on Monday afternoon, and we're just sitting there and we're watching the sun set. In this part of the island, you can watch the sun set and the sun rise because you've got water on both sides of you, kind of on a peninsula, and so you're facing east to watch the sun rise, and if you turn over your shoulder, you're watching it set behind you. And so we're sitting in this particular spot, and the day's winding down, and we've already seen the sun rise over the ocean, and now we're turning and watching it set behind us, and as it sets behind us, there's nobody that's not amazed and enamored by the rising sun and the setting sun. And they may not be giving credit to the Creator that created all that, but they continue to be amazed, and there's no two sunrises and two sunsets that's the same. But as I was sitting there, I was watching the sunset, and as the sun set, the sky became pink and purple and all the amazing colors. And Psalm 19 came to my remembrance. So if you go to Psalm 19 verse 1, as I'm painting this picture for you, it says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows His handiwork. That's Psalm 19 verse 1. And so we're sitting there in this verse, I'm just thinking about it. I'm going like, God, you put yourself on display every day. Every day in your creation, you put yourself on full display. And so as the sun goes down and it gets dark, and of course we continue to fish till 11, 12, 1 in the morning, and we continue to fish and continue to watch, then all of a sudden out over the ocean, the moon begins to rise, and it begins to come up, and so it begins to bring light again onto the situation, and the clouds are there, and then you can see the stars around the moon with the clouds in the background. And so it all is just beautiful big mural of creation that the Lord's painting, and he's put all that together to this verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God. And the glory of God, the glory there is is the kavada. It's the kavod. It's the majesty, the weightiness, the splendor of creation. And it's like God's glory is being created in His handiwork. Like in how he's laid everything out to be displayed. And it's just sitting there, and it's just saying, here I am. Like if you're wondering where I am, here's my handiwork in the heavenlies. And so, as the moon rises, I just continue to sit and think. Like there's no other explanation to the handiwork of the Lord in creation than somebody made this beyond it just showing up and beyond it just appearing. And so you go back and think about David. If you think about David, as he's writing this psalm here, Psalm 19, as you're writing it, you can picture David on a hillside, and he's sitting under, and he's probably watched the sunset behind a mountain and a moon rise into the valley, and he's probably watching the stars, and he's tending to his sheep, and he's sitting there pondering the Lord. He's spending time in communion with the Lord, and he's pondering Him. And he's sitting there just being amazed at His handiwork. And so he's penning this psalm here, and it says, we're going to read the first 6 verses, and next week I'm going to go 7 through 14, but this week we're going to do the first 6 verses. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows, or the expanse of the sky shows His handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them He has set a tabernacle, or a tent, for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming out of its chamber, and rejoices like a strong man to run its race. It rises from one end of heaven, and its circuit to the other end, and there is nothing hidden from its heat. Now, I'm going to read that in the Passion Translation. Psalm 19, verse 1 of the Passion through 6. God's splendor is a tale that is told. His testament is written in the stars. Space itself speaks His story every day. Through the marvels of the heavens, His truth is on tour in the starry vault of the sky, showing His skill in creation's craftsmanship. Each day gushes out its message to the next. The night with night whispers its knowledge to all. Without a sound, without a word, without a voice being heard, yet all the world can see its story. Everywhere the gospel is clearly read, so all may know. Verse 5, what a heavenly home God has set for the sun, shining in the superdome of the sky. See how He leaves His celestial chamber each morning, radiant as the bridegroom ready for his wedding. Like a day breaking, the champion eager to run his race and his course. His rise is on the horizon, completing his circuit on the other, warming the lives and lands with his heat. Now, I want you to think about, just as you read this psalm, as you begin to read it, it's simply saying, it's just this first part of the psalm, it's God's revelation of Himself to all of His creation, through creation. He reveals Himself to man through creation. So He's revealed Himself just generally in how He's created things and how He's made things. And it continues to preach and speak of who He is, the Creator. And it continues to point to something greater than ourselves, something greater than the mystery of a bang or of something just all of a sudden coming into order. To think of how the sky stays in order. To think of how actually a sunrise and a sunset's actually not rising and setting. The earth is actually just turning and moving around it. And so as it spins and rotates, it's hiding the sun from its occupants in a particular location based on the spin and the rotation. And so, therefore, the sun's really not rising and setting, but we say it's rising and setting, but every day there is a different sunrise and sunset. And every day there's an expectation within us of something new and something different, and an expectation of a greater day or a greater something. There's so much hope that gets tied up it's tied up in creation, because creation continues to declare the glory of God. It declares the glory of its creator. So, go back and read. Let's read this again. Because the Word has a way of, when David's writing this Word, he has set countless days and countless hours underneath the hot sun and underneath the cool of the evening and underneath the starry night, where there is no light pollution. The one thing that was so amazing to me is I was sitting on Cape Lookout, and as I was pondering this verse, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament, or literally the expanse of the heavens, shows His handiwork. As I was pondering that, you can look around and you can barely see any light pollution. You might could see little bitty car lights way, way up the beach, maybe 10, 15 miles up the beach. And maybe way offshore, you could see a little light from a shrimp boat. And maybe if you look back close enough, far enough over the back to the west, you might could see a little bit of light from Morehead City. But you're standing there, and then all of a sudden, by 10 or 11 o'clock, the Milky Way is it's vivid. It's just there. And then the perspective that it begins to create as you sit there under the stars and you begin to ponder the glory that's being declared by the heavens, by His creation. And the fact that we have been created and set in the midst of it. And that's been something that's been given to us to ponder and look at and to be amazed by and to continue to commune with the Lord. And so there becomes a place as we sit in His creation, there's a place within us that gets more connected to Him, because we sit there and we ponder what He's created and what He's laid out. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows His handiwork. And then it says, verse 2, day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. In the Passion Translation, verse 2. Each day gushes out its message to the next. Night with night whispering its knowledge to all. Without a sound, without a word, without a voice being heard. That's verse 2 and 3. And so when the sun rises and the sun sets and the moon rises and the moon sets, it's continuing. Everybody on the planet experiences these same things. Now, they may not have the same perspective that I have, and the star might be in a different position in the sky, but it still can be seen within the sky. And the sun still rises and it still sets, and the moon still rises and it still sets. And as all that rising and everything is happening, it continues to speak across the whole world, all of creation. Every human has the ability to see the testimony of the creation, the heavens declaring that there is something greater than ourselves that is receiving glory because of what's all been created. And so there's nobody that's without excuse, because when you look into creation, today I'm just specifically talking about if we look into the sky, if we look into the sun, which is what we're talking about here, and we look into the rise and the setting of it, it continues to give glory every day to the Father, going like, this is who He is, this is who He is, this is who He is. It continues to resound and speak of the glory of the Lord. And it doesn't have to be, the thing about it is you don't even have to acknowledge that the glory of God's being displayed, but it's being displayed to us every day. But if you will take a moment, like I was experiencing, if you'll take that moment in time and take a breath and look and go and just read the verse. I go back to the Passion in 19:1. It says, God's splendor is a tale that is told. His testament is written in the stars. Space itself speaks His story every day. through the marvels of the heavens. His truth is on tour in the starry vaults of the sky, showing His skill in creation's craftsmanship. Nobody is without excuse when they begin to look and ponder in the sky. Because you begin to look and go like, this can't just have come into being. The organization and how it's put together, it begs for something greater to be there. It begs for a creator. It begs for somebody there. It just doesn't come into play. The organization that we have within our human bodies, the organizations that we have just simply in nature, continues to shout and scream and yell, there is something greater than yourself. Look and ask the question. So I believe David encountered God out there while he was sitting there, because he continued to ask questions while he sat under the stars. Father, how did those stars come to be? Or he may even said the questions, how did this all come to be? And as he continued to ask the question and listen to the creation stories that was passed down by his father, and they continued to listen to the stories in generations and the stories that were from his forefathers. And so all that began to be there with David, and as he's sitting there under the stars, writing this psalm, as he's writing it, he's going like, all of heaven declares the glory. His craftsmanship is seen everywhere. All right, look in verse 2 again. Each day gushes out its message to the next. Night with night whispering its knowledge to all. Without a sound, without a word, without a voice being heard, yet all the world can see its story. Everywhere its gospel is clearly read, so all may know. That's verse 4. And so it continues as the sun rises and the sun sets. It continues to preach and speak to us, saying, there is something greater. There's a creator out there that has created life, and it has the answers to life's questions, and it has the answers to the desires and the things that we are lacking within us. That's why every day we wake up, we're designed to wake up in hope, right? There's a new day, the sun rises, there's a new day. There's something new that happens if we arise in hope. We arise and wake up. The sun gives birth to a new day. And as the sun sets, it gives end to one day. Verse 5 in the Passion. What a heavenly home God has set for the sun. So he's talking about the sun itself. He's kind of going like, David's going like, there must be a place, like David sleeps in a tent under the stars. He's going like, there's a place that God's made for the sun, and it's just sitting there waiting to come back out. See how he leaves his celestial chamber each morning. It's to say there's a place the sun has been set for, and but every morning it comes out ready to do its work, ready to declare the glory of God. I see how he leaves the celestial chamber each morning radiant as a bridegroom, ready for his wedding, like a day-breaking champion, eager to run his course. That's verse 5. And so the sun sits there, and it's really, I guess, for us, we should all be this same way as we continue to declare the glory of God. As we look in the expanse, it should capture us. It should capture our hearts to the point to where, like the sun, it comes out every day. It's kind of like, David's writing here is kind of going like, the sun is sitting there waiting for the day to come out. It's like a bridegroom. It's like the excitement of a bridegroom on his wedding day is not, he's not sad. He's anticipating his wife. He's anticipating being married. He's anticipating everything that comes with marriage and with the relationship. He's anticipating finally to be joined to his wife. And so comes out radiant, comes out ready. And so there's something within us that has to be awakened to the fact that Each day has hope in it, and each day has a greater place in it for us. And all we have to do is stop and look at creation, and it continues to give glory to the Father. And so in that, as we ponder that, it should awaken and pull things out of us and pull us into our destinies and our inheritance. Verse 6, talking about the sun. He rises on one horizon, completing his circuit on the other, warming the lives in the hands of his heat. So, today, part of my goal today was Psalm 19, verse 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the earth its firmament. So the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. The heavens declare the glory. So for us to ponder today, take a moment and ponder. Ponder our own lives. Like, do we wake up giving glory to God? Do we wake up simply giving glory? Are we ready to go out and to champion what God's put in front of us for the day or for the week? Are we ready to, whether we eat, drink, or whatever we do it all to the glory of God? Are we ready to go and proclaim His glory just by being who we are in His kingdom? The sun just does what it's been designed to do, and it declares the glory. The moon rises and declares the glory. The stars, the expanse of the skies, they declare, all of creation, they continue to declare the glory of God because they've been designed to declare the glory and designed to reflect our Creator, somebody who has created them, and they continue to do so. We, being His creations, are designed to reflect and declare the glory of God. So today, think about this in your gather groups. Maybe a question you're going to ask is, how is it that in my life I can simply declare His glory by how I live, how I do the job that I've been called to do, how I am in a relationship with my husband, I'm in a relationship with my wife, I'm in a relationship with my children. How do we declare the glory of God and just simply who we are? In this psalm, David continues to say that as the sun rises and the sun sets, it continues to preach the gospel of that there is something greater than ourselves out there ready to rescue our life and ready to be a part of what we're doing. All we have to do is stop and look and ask the question. Today in your gather group, discuss how is it that we can declare the glory of God and who we are and what we do on a daily basis. Also, I want to challenge you this week to go out. It's getting cooler in the mornings. If you can rise up for a sunrise, arise for a sunrise. And go out and see if you can catch the sun before it comes up. And then, because it's going to come up. And so go out and catch a sunrise in the cool of the morning and feel the presence of the Lord in the midst of that. And just worship for a moment. When I say worship, ponder Him. Ponder all of creation that already is giving glory. Or maybe you go catch a sunset. Or maybe you walk out after and you just sit and ponder the stars and you look. Because when that place begins to get awakened within us, there's a greater place. We can begin to receive the gift of righteousness, the abundance of grace that have been given to us. We can begin to receive that, accept it. We can learn to take a breath and let that continue to open up the places that we know there's something greater outside of ourselves that's already a part of our life. When we have said yes to Jesus, it continues to grow and it continues to to make itself known within us. But we have to stop for a minute and ponder it. So that's my challenge for today and for this week. Don't forget worship night, September 30th. And have a great day.